Thursday night football is here. We've got an NFL marquee matchup between the Commanders and the Bears, and I've got three best bets in that matchup. You don't want to miss this. What's up, guys? It's your boy Noble Living back with another BYF Bets video where I'm breaking down my favorite picks and plays of the day as we just try to get to the bag and make some money together. Now, last night we had another MLB day, full slate of games, and it did not work out the way we always wanted it to. Kind of like a split day. We cashed in on Zach Gallen over 16.5 outs. I saw some books have it at 15.5. I saw some books have it at 17.5. Listen, if you took any of those, you would have cashed in, so congratulations on that. We did lose on the Jays money line, and we also did lose in our Jays series future. Completely outmanaged in that game. I mean, Barrios was dealing, wheeling and dealing, 37 pitches through 4 innings, and then you pull him in the fourth. Like, come on now. Like, the dude's used to this atmosphere. He used to play for the Twins. He's used to the stadium. I don't really agree with the call, and it ended up biting them in the ass in the end. And then also Vladdy Guerrero getting picked off was Bo Bichette at the plate. I mean, just too many mistakes for the Blue Jays in this series. So you hate to see it. So 2 losses right there. And then we did push on the Rangers and Rays under 8. I did tell you if you wanted to take the juice, take the 8.5. So this way, you know, you would have won on that. But, you know, kind of hard to take an under when you give up 7 runs. The Rays absolutely didn't show up at all this series like we expected. But, you know, kind of hard to win an under when you give up 7 runs in the playoffs. So 1, 2, and 1 on the day. We normally don't get a whole lot of pushes, but you can see our year-to-date record right here. Not the way we want to start off the MLB playoffs, but starting on Saturday, we're going to have a lot more games, so you don't want to miss that. Trust me, it's a long month of October, and I can promise you by the end of this month, we're going to be in the positive. We're going to be in the green, because we always are. And if you want to be a part of that journey, make sure you click that like button and subscribe to the channel. So this way you can stay up to date on all the latest picks and plays. So now let's dive into this Thursday night football matchup with these 3 best bets. So for my first best bet of the day, you know, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think the NFL has a strategy, and I think I'm kind of figuring it out on these Thursday night games. I think they're saying inside the room, let's put the teams that people are not going to watch on Sunday, so this way they get some airtime and people have to watch them. That's why we have this Commanders and Bears matchup, and then truthfully, I feel like I say this every Thursday. I don't really like this matchup. I'm not a big fan of it, but hey, listen, we're sports bettors, we're gamblers, we're degenerates, so we're going to play it anyway, and we've got a 6-point spread in favor of the Commanders in this one who are at home, and truthfully, I can't disagree with the line too much because there's just so many question marks surrounding this Bears team. I mean, both offensively and defensively. We've heard the press conferences. We've seen the defensive coordinator leave. We've seen them get equipment stolen from their lockers. We've seen them do a whole bunch of stuff this year that we just can't even explain. And because of that, it just makes it really hard to handicap this Bears team. And I'm really not going to handicap them at all this year because I think it's in your best favor to start looking at some of the other teams, especially if you are a Bears fan, right? The Commanders are coming off a gut-wrenching loss in overtime to the Eagles, 34-31. That lost that game, and I think there was a good bounce back for that team after a 37-3 blowout to the Bills in the game before. The Commanders showed a lot of heart in that divisional matchup, and it was tough. They had the lead for the majority of the game. They scored a touchdown with about no time left, so you love to see that heart in that fight. It was just a tough loss to a really good Eagles team in overtime, and while I do think the Commanders can cover this touchdown spread, I think we're just getting a little bit of an overreaction here on this line from the books because I'm a big Eagles fan. You guys know that. And I spend a lot of time watching and covering the Commanders. And I will say this, right? They always play the Eagles hard. I was absolutely expecting it. I actually told people inside my Telegram group, if you're not inside that group, click the link on the bio and come join us where we have conversations every day about games like this. And I told them, like, yo, as an Eagles fan, I would not take the Eagles on the spread because the Commanders always play us hard. And truthfully, we always lose like one divisional game to the Commanders just about every year. Even though we were home, I liked that. But I knew the Commanders were going to play us hard. And sure enough, they did, and that's the reason why the Commanders got the cover at the end of the day. But on the other side last week, the Bears blew a 21-point lead at home to the Broncos, which basically sums up the turmoil that this team has been going through all year. So even though I can't trust the Bears in this one on the road to get the full win, I do think that there's a possibility that they're going to cover in this game. So as a result, I'm going to go with a teaser in this one because teasers have been absolutely amazing to us. If you tease the Commanders down on that 6 or that 6.5 point spread, it basically turns into a pick 'em, which I like. And then I'm also going to take the 6-point teaser on the over, so you're going to take that down from a 44.5 spread down to 38.5 or 38. I think that line moves throughout the day, so maybe you want to monitor that, but I would take the over up to about 39.5 on that teaser. Don't overthink this one, my friends, okay? The Commanders, they're the better team, and so far this year, they've won the games that they were supposed to win against the Cardinals and the Broncos, and they lost the games that no one was really expecting them to win against the Bills and the Eagles. So they've handled the business in the 2 games that they were supposed to win. They lost the 2 games that they weren't supposed to win. But now this this is a big opportunity for this Commanders not only to get back above 500, but to keep their record going in this competitive NFC East. Now, everyone is on the over in this matchup. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this line moves even more. And I think this is a matchup where you're going to have the pros and the Joes on the same side. Both the public and the sharp money should be on the over, because all of the numbers are telling us to take the over, despite how great primetime unders have been. The defenses for both of these teams have been absolutely god-awful to start the year. The Commanders are 29th in points allowed per game, averaging over 30, while the Bears are 31st out of 32 teams in points allowed a game, averaging about 34 points. So because of that, both of these defenses give a ton of points, and I think there's no difference why we shouldn't see a lot of scoring in this matchup again today. We have a short week, which is a Thursday night, but if this game was on a Sunday, I would not be surprised if this line was at 48, 49, even upwards of 50. So the fact that we're getting it at 44.5, 45 is value. I do like the total over as just an individual play, but I am going to take it on the teaser just so this way I can get a little bit of extra insurance there. And then, like I said, I like that pick 'em because the Commanders should win this game at home. And if it becomes close game late, maybe a 1 or 2 point game, a game-winning field goal wins it for us, a 1 point win wins it for us, a 2 point win wins it for us. So I really like the fact that we can tease this one and get the Commanders on a pick 'em, and then we can also get some value on the over as well. Now, this is a little stat for you to also help you handicap that over. The Bears have given up 25 points in 14 straight games dating back to last season, and then also this Chicago Bears team has a ton of injuries in their secondary. They're averaging less than 1 sack per game, so they're not getting a ton of pressure on the quarterback. Their defensive coordinator left the team. I said that a little bit earlier. So there's just a lot of question marks around this Bears defense. I think Sam Howell, who has a lot of confidence in his game right now, can definitely exploit this. He's not afraid to throw the ball deep. He's not afraid to push the issue. We saw this in his matchup against the Broncos. He threw for 299 in that game with 2 touchdowns. And then last week against the Eagles, he threw for 290 yards and a touchdown. So we've seen Sam Howell's confidence growing more and more week after week in Bellamy's offense. And if Justin Fields, if he can keep his confidence in this game and move the ball pretty well, we saw them do that last week against the Broncos where they dropped 28 points on them. I don't see why this one doesn't go over. I also don't see why the Washington Commanders can't beat this Bears team. And here's another little fun fact for you. The Bears have gone over in every single game this year, so far this year. So because of that, let's just go with the over. Let's just go with the Commanders. Let's go with that 6-point teaser. Get the Commanders on a pick 'em, and then get me the over 38.5 as my first best bet of the day. For my second best bet of the day, I just mentioned to you guys how Sam Howell's confidence has been growing. If you've been looking at his numbers week after week, he's been getting better. He's been getting more confident. He's been taking more deep shots. He's really just been pushing the initiative more. So because of that, I'm going to play him on my next 2 picks, and I'm going to show you guys kind of like a little strategy here that I use sometimes when I'm handicapping certain games like this, right? So it's hard for me to really take a look at any Bears props because, one, I haven't watched a whole lot of Bears football this year in all honesty. 2, it's kind of hard to predict a team like the Bears and what they're going to do, and I'm not really going to lean too much on them. And I think you can take a look at Washington's team total over. I think it's at 25.5 on most books. I just mentioned how the Bears have given up 25 more points in 14 straight games, right? But then that's kind of leaning into the over bet again in a way, right? It's kind of playing that same over angle just in a different angle, right? So because of that, one of the things I want to take a look at is Sam Howell and how he's going to do in this matchup because of how well he's been doing in Bellamy's offense. Now, in each game this year, Sam Howell's rushing attempts and yards have gone up. So I love to see that. So because of that, I'm going to take Sam Howell over 13.5 rushing yards, minus 110 odds on BetMGM. And if you look at his numbers in every game this year, you'll see how this number's increased. In game 1 this year, he had 11 rushing yards. Game 2, 13 rushing yards. So we would have hooked right there. Game 3, 18 rushing yards. And then last week, he ran for 40 rushing yards. So only a 2-and-2 split, 1 on the hook. But again, that shows how more confident he's getting in this offense. He's willing to use his legs more. He's really willing to be able to get out the pocket and make some plays for this Commanders team. Now, one thing that does scare me is that the Eagles were able to get a lot of pressure on Howell, so that's the reason why he was running for his life so much. Now, the Bears, they nowhere near have the pass rush that the Eagles do. It's nowhere near as threatening. Right now, they're in the bottom half of the league in sacks per game. They're actually the worst team in the league in sacks per game. So because of that, while I am going to take Sam Howell's rushing yards over 13.5 as my second best bet, for my third best bet, I'm also going to take Sam Howell's longest completion over 35.5 yards. You can get that at minus 115 on FanDuel. Some books have it at 36.5. I do like that as well. So this is me kind of hedging the rushing scenario, but also at the same time giving me the opportunity to win both plays. Because the way I look at this, right, is if Sam Howell gets pressured, then he's going to have to run the ball and he's going to make some plays with his legs. But if he has all day in the pocket to throw the ball and pick apart this Bears defense, defense, then he's going to have time in the pocket to take a few deep shots. He's not afraid to throw the ball deep. We have seen this from Sam Howell, right? So because of that, it's like I'm playing both sides, even though I think both of these bets will win. Now I'm hedging kind of my rushing prop with my longest completion prop because I think that he's going to be able to get one or both of these props, right? Sam Howell, he's not like Heineke, the quarterback for the Commanders last year, who was really big into like dipping and dunking, hitting the screen pass, hitting the slant, throwing it to the running back. Like Howell is not afraid to throw it deep. He has a few deep threat options in McLaurin and Samuel that he's willing to use. And then don't forget that the Commanders play call is Eric Bellamy, the former offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, one of the masterminds behind that offense there. And Mahomes likes to throw it deep. So Bellamy is bringing that same type of mindset and offense to this Commanders team and to Howell. And if you look at some of the numbers this year, right, you can see how they've been able to go deep. In game 1 this year, Howell's longest completion was 32 yards. In game 2, the longest completion was 36 yards. So we would have hooked or we would have won, depending on where you get the number at. Game 3, 37 yards. Game 4, 35 yards. And that was against the Eagles last week. So we only went over really on one of these. We hooked on the other one, but the volume is there. All 4 of these games so far this year, he's gotten his longest completion over 30 yards. So I love to see that. I can live with some near misses like that and some bad beats if we get the longest completion today at 34, 35. I'm knocking on wood because I don't think that's going to happen, but I can live with that. But now look on the other side against the Bears defense, right? Game 1 against the Packers. Jordan Love, who's not a quarterback who we've seen throws the ball deep too often, right? He had one completion for 51 yards and another one for 37 yards. So both of those went over. Game 2, Mike Evans broke one for 70 yards. Game 3, Valdez Scantling, Justin Watson for the Chiefs both had a reception for 37 yards, so we would have went over there. And then last week against the Broncos, Mims had a 48-yarder. So in all 4 games for the Bears defense this year, they've given up a big play that would have cashed in on this player prop here. So you guys can kind of see how I'm hedging the rushing prop with the longest completion prop because the numbers are telling me that Sam Howell should run the ball, but if the Bears don't get enough pressure or defense on him, then that means that he should have enough time to throw it deep. And I believe that the Commanders offense is going to be able to exploit this big play today. They're going to be able to look at the film and realize that the Bears give a ton of yards and a lot of long completions. And I think Sam Howell is going to take a few deep shots today, try their chances, or they might even just get McLaurin out in space with a few screens, and you never know. He might be able to break one out for deep. So those are my plays today in this Thursday night football matchup. We're going with a pick'em, a teaser. Let's go with Washington on a pick'em over 38.5 minus 120 is the first best bet of the day. Those 6-point teasers have been absolutely money for us this year. Definitely have a lot of confidence in that play. Best bet number 2 and player prop number 1, Sam Howell over 13.5 rushing yards. And then best bet number 3, another player prop, Sam Howell over longest completions over 35 or 36.5 yards. That's how I'm playing this game. All the numbers say take the Commanders. The Bears have not shown me enough for me to grab them or back them, but I will have a few other plays that I will take in this matchup, as we do have some other player props I'm taking, lad. I'm going to look to see about how the lines move throughout the day. So if you want some of those other picks, make sure you click the link in the bio, join our free Telegram group, so this way you guys can stay up to date on all our latest picks and plays today. And then as always, we got college football and NFL this weekend. I don't do any videos on the weekends, so make sure you guys are inside the Telegram group so you guys can get those other plays, because we're going to have MLB postseason this weekend, a full college football slate, and an NFL slate, so you definitely don't want to miss out on those winners. All right, my friends, let's get to the money today. Let's get to the bag. And if you have a winner, drop it below so this way I can tell you and we can continue to make some money together. Dictate your fate, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Later, guys.